An advanced humanoid extraterrestrial race's spacecraft lands on a prehistoric planet, possibly Earth, millions of years ago. One of the aliens ingests a mysterious substance, which causes its body to fall apart and into a nearby waterfall. We watch how its DNA disintegrates and recombines, dispersing the essential elements for life on Earth. A star map is found in a cave by archaeology couple Elizabeth Shaw, Numi Rapace, and Charlie Holloway, Logan Marshall Green, in the year 2089 on the Isle of Skye off the coast of Scotland. They documented among the remains of a number of seemingly unrelated ancient societies. They see this as an invitation from the ancestors of mankind. The founder and CEO of the Wayland Corporation, Peter Wayland, Guy Pearce, funds the creation of the scientific deep space research vessel called the USS Prometheus to follow the map to the distant moon of LV-223 several light-years from Earth. While the crew of the spacecraft travels in cryogenic stasis at light speed, Michael Fassbender's android David watches over their whole journey from the pilot's seat. Note, LV-223 is not the same planet initially shown in the 1979 film Alien, rather, it is a neighboring area of space, as Ridley Scott stated on Friday, June 1, on BBC Radio 5 Live. The spacecraft docks at LV-223 in 2093. On LV-426, Alien takes place. The crew is informed of their goal to uncover the ancient aliens, known as engineers, who may have created the human species after being woken from sleep. Additionally, they see a holographic message from Wayland, who informs them of his support for the endeavor and that he has since died. Wayland also informs everyone that Charlie and Elizabeth are in charge of the mission. When the Prometheus reaches the planet's atmosphere, it experiences turbulence, which passes once they can see the surface through the cloud cover. Shaw, Holloway, and David are part of the team that examines the alien building when the Prometheus lands nearby it. Vickers and Captain Yannick, Idris Elba, stay on the ship to keep an eye on their activities. They are instructed to avoid any direct contact and to return if the aliens are discovered by Mission Director Meredith Vickers, Charlize Theron. A space of breathable air is found inside the pyramid. They discover hundreds of cylinder-shaped objects, a monolithic statue of a humanoid head, and the headless body of a large extraterrestrial, believed to be one of the engineers, in a gloomy room that David opens. The species is assumed to be extinct and further carcasses are subsequently discovered inside the building. They see old film of hologram engineers rushing through the hallways in response to an emergency that happened in the past. Also of note, the alien engineers are dressed in the exact same biomechanical spacesuits that the dead alien, Space Jockey, wears in the crashed spaceship in the original Alien movie, thus confirming the connection between them as one and the same extraterrestrial species. While the other cylinders in the chamber start to leak a black fluid as a result of the environment or temperature change when the chamber was opened, David stealthily returns a cylinder to the ship. Crewmen Milburn, Rafe Spall, and Fifield, Sean Harris, are left stuck in the pyramid construction after becoming disoriented while trying to find a way out while the crew is forced to return to Prometheus due to an impending storm. David saves the couple when they are blasted off the loading platform because Shaw insisted they carry the engineer's head back to the ship with them. The pair barely makes it back alive. Shaw and the ship's Dr. Ford, Kate Dickey, examine the engineer's head while removing a bulky helmet with David's assistance. They find that it shares the same DNA as the human race. They momentarily revive the skull by using an electric needle. The severed engineer's head, however, decomposes quickly and disintegrates when exposed to the breathing environment. Later, when David opens the cylinder, he finds many ampoules filled with a sticky, black substance. The Prometheus crew debates the meaning of life. David, an android, wonders why he was made by humans, and Shaw, an infertile woman who is unable to conceive, examines her own existence. David secretes the material he discovered in the ampoule on his finger and briefly dips it into a champagne glass to infect Holloway with it. Holloway has a drink in honor of their finding. Shaw has sex with the sick Holloway afterwards. Later, when Holloway looks in a mirror, he notices that his eyes are rheumatic and that one of his corneas has sprouted a tiny, silver worm-like creature. Fifield and Milburn return to the building where they witness an odd snake-like thing emerge from a puddle of the dark liquid that has seeped from the cylinders. When Milburn tries to investigate the object, it seizes his hand and rapidly coils its arm around his, snapping it in two. When Fifield tries to stop it, one of the monster's corrosive fluids, yellow acidic blood, melt Fifield's helmet, leaving him exposed to the murky liquid spilling from the cylinders. Then, the thing pushes its way into his suit and down his neck. The Prometheus team returns to the building the next morning after the storm has passed. There, they discover Milburn's body. A chamber with a live engineer in stasis and a holographic star chart indicating numerous far-off planetary systems is found by David. He sees the engineer's holograms turn on a navigation system. Earth finally appears as one of the planets. The hologram of Earth is left behind when the technology abruptly goes down. In a neighboring hibernation pod, David discovers a lone engineer and hears its heartbeat. Holloway is hurried back to the ship as the virus destroys his body quickly. Vickers refuses to let him on, citing quarantine procedures, despite his obvious decline. He approaches Vickers and begs her to murder him. She uses a flamethrower to burn him to death. Shaw is heartbroken. Shaw is pregnant despite being infertile, according to a medical scan. She is subdued by David in order to be sent back to Earth in stasis. Taking the crucifix her father had given her, he claims it may be defiled. She flees and, while still alive, utilizes an automated medical surgical pod in Vickers' quarters to remove a horrifying cephalopod-like thing from her tummy. It is discovered that Wayland had been in stasis on board the spacecraft, and it is made clear that Vickers is his child. Shaw is informed by Wayland that he plans to petition the engineers for assistance in preventing his impending death. Just outside the hangar bay, a mutant Fifield is found. He attacks, kills a number of crew men, and then kills himself. The engineers utilize the moon they are on as a military base up until they lost control of their biological weapons, specifically the cylinders and the black fluid they contain, according to Yannick's theory. The engineer is discovered to be inside of what is later revealed to be a spaceship, with a design similar to the abandoned alien spaceship featured in the 1979 film Alien, when the surviving crew members return to the building and awaken him. David asks the engineer in an alien tongue why they created humans and begs him to prolong the life of Mr. Wayland, his own creator. In response, the engineer rips off his head, murdering Wayland and Ford. As the engineer turns on the alien ship, Shaw flees from it. The still-going David speculates that the engineer will disperse the ampoules of black fluid on Earth, eliminating all life as we know it. Shaw persuades Vickers to halt the engineer's spacecraft despite Vickers' instructions for Yannick to return to Earth. Vickers escapes in an escape pod as Yannick and his two remaining crewmen launch the Prometheus and collide with the engineer's spacecraft. Vickers is crushed as the crippled engineer spacecraft lands on the planet and crashes on it. Shaw just avoids getting crushed. When Shaw visits the escape pod to get supplies, she discovers that the alien child she aborted but is still alive has grown to enormous proportions. After the accident, the engineer escapes and assaults Shaw, who then lets the tentacled monstrosity out. It chokes the engineer with an ovipositor to subjugate it. Until David reaches her and informs her that there are more engineer spacecraft somewhere on the planet, Shaw feels she is stuck on the planet. Together, they go to and activate another engineer spacecraft after she retrieves David's remains from the alien ship and returns the cross David had seized. Then, in an effort to comprehend why, Shaw and the remains of android David head for the engineer's homeworld, Paradise. They created humanity and why they later attempted to destroy it. In the film's concluding scene, an alien monster that resembles the xenomorph from the previous Alien, 1979, films emerges from the dying engineer in Vickers' escape pod.